Wild and
Trying to catch a butterfly.
wild and wonderful monster.
Like a butterfly.
Ladies, gentlemen, and kinsects of all ages, it's time to get Glaive and talk about the new best builds for Insect Glaive after the final update for Wilds, which has actually done a fair bit to shift the meta up. Today we're going to have a couple of main build templates and then variations of those depending on things like RNG charm versus crafted charm, or whether you have set and group bonuses from your weapon or not, as those require different combinations of equipment to get the most out of them. And one of the big things that will be coming up a lot today as a focus is Convert Element as a skill. Convert Element has never been a bad skill by any means, but was always quite hard to get properly, as it only existed in a couple of places and not on very efficient pieces. But now with Arch-Tempered Arkveld existing, his chest piece is 3 Convert Element with a 3-slot and 2-slot socket, which is extremely good if you want Convert Element, and so a new discussion among the player base is exactly how much value does Convert Element have? We've explained the skill in proper detail in dedicated videos before, but to sum it up quickly, when you get hit by elemental damage, it activates for 2 minutes, then it goes on cooldown for 90 seconds before it can activate once again. This gives it a maximum uptime of 57%. While active with 3 ranks, you gain 180 Dragon Element if your weapon was already Dragon Element, otherwise it does nothing for you. But the other effect from this is while active is you build up to what are essentially Dragon flavored blast status procs. It's a status-like mechanic where you build up to a threshold as you hit things, and when you reach the threshold it blows up for a pop of damage that is a mix of fixed damage, true damage, meaning that it ignores hit zones and just hits for the amount it hits for, and then a portion of it is dragon damage as well. But the fixed damage is the big part of this for the most part. That said, for Insect Glaive at least, the skill list without Convert Element is only very minorly better than the skill list you can get without it, which means in any matchup where you trigger Convert Element, it is actually worth using. And so today our main build templates will be one that is just the generic highest effective raw for Insect Glaive, applicable to any situation and any monster, and then our second template is the best Insect Glaive with Convert Element for when you are fighting monsters with elemental attacks. And I think for the vast majority of players, this will end up being the better build. It will have faster average kill times, but that does come with the caveat that even if a monster does have elemental attacks, you do still have to activate the skill by getting hit by the element. I think most players will be hit frequently enough that it will still absolutely be worth it. It's hard to quantify the effective raw value of flat damage procs like this, but even if you only activate it once every like 5 minutes or so, it should still be good enough that this is better than building without it now. Sort of like how we talk about counterstrike for weapons that don't have offset attacks. But that's the idea of the second main build template of the day. Moving on then, let's talk about Kinsect Choice. Best option as usual is Archmaiden. Fiddlebricks has the same skills, the same bonuses, the same stats, but it is sharp damage, severing damage instead of blunt damage like Archmaiden is, and blunt is more desirable because it can occasionally result in a stun if you hit the head enough. For the weapon itself, you want Gogma Artian weapons. They are better than anything else, even with the worst possible reinforcements and no set or group bonus of relevance. They're just that strong. Ideally, you would want one of these for each element, as status is pretty much irrelevant in the deeper endgame hunts these days due to threshold values, and while we aren't building to focus on element, the best way to min-max is to always match the element of the glaive with the weakness of the monster. But if you only want to make 1 glaive instead of 5, the most applicable to difficult hunts is dragon element specifically. On the weapon itself, you want 4 attack boost reinforcements and 1 sharpness boost reinforcements, though having some affinity instead of attack is pretty much just as good as long as you don't overcap on affinity. And if you get 4 attack rolls, this is the best that you can strive for the upgrade levels on it due to the rules around EX rolls. As for focus, attack focus is minorly better than element focus, especially as it gives you more room for error if you get an affinity reinforcement instead of attack reinforcement. Then for set and group bonus on the weapon for the builds that those apply to, they are always going to be Gore Magala set bonus and Lord Soul group bonus. So let's move on to the builds themselves, starting with our generic full raw attack focus setup, built around having set and group bonus on the weapon. The armor for this one is Arkveld Gamma Helmet, New Udra Gamma Chest, Guardian Rathalos Beta Arms, and Alpha Waist, then Gore Magala Beta Pants. This gets us Lord Soul, Scorcher, and the Gore 2 set as well, thanks to our weapon bonuses too. For the charm on this one, God Roll would be 3 attack with either 1 burst or 1 latent power as a rarity 8 talisman, so you can get the weapon decoration slot for an extra rank of attack too. If you don't have that talisman, you could just swap it out to the latent power charm and also switch a couple of our decorations over to agitator, just so that you don't overcap on average affinity. That would fit the build perfectly perfectly if we did that. For the mantle, Corrupted Mantle is technically the best choice for pure offense in this type of build, but I am a really big fan personally of Rocksteady Mantle and the amount of extra damage you can come out while it's active with the safety net that it provides. Not to mention, for the Convert Element builds we'll be talking about later, Rocksteady would allow you to activate Convert Element without getting like fully knocked down and flinched by an attack too. For decorations then, the weapon ones in this build will be the same for every build today, which is 5 critical boost across 2 of your slots, then a combo decoration with the Airborne skill, which boosts the damage of any attack where your feet are off the ground. This includes some of the hits in Descending Slash and Descending Thrust, but also it includes the entirety of Rising Spiral Slash, which is the strongest part of Insect Glaive's moveset. If you have the RNG talisman, you absolutely want the combo jewel with 1 rank of attack boost, which would let you get to the full rank of 5 of attack boost total. With Crafted Charm, you would probably want to run it as the combo jewel with Expert for a slight bit of extra affinity instead. For your armor decorations then, you are looking for 1 counter jewel to finish off the counterstrike skill to 3 ranks. You want 3 throttle jewels to get latent power to 3 ranks. For that bit of affinity that it gives you, the value from that is worth more than Agitator at these exact specific numbers. Then 3 mighty jewels for 3 maximum might in the build for affinity purposes. 1 earplugs jewel for the first rank of earplugs, because when we have all 3 extracts from our Kinsect at the same time, we get a bonus rank of earplugs for free, essentially. And because most roars in the game require only 2 earplugs to ignore, this lets us take advantage of our free inbuilt bonus of the weapon to gain some extra downtime during a hunt. Then 2 Sane jewels just to finish off antivirus to the full 3 ranks, and 2 free 1-slot sockets to do with as you please as well. Not to mention any armor sockets on your talisman itself. Full skill list for this one then is 5 attack boost, 5 critical boost, airborne, 5 weakness exploit, 3 latent power, 3 counterstrike, 3 maximum might, 3 antivirus, 1 burst, 1 earplugs, 1 windproofed, 1 flinch free as bonuses, then the Scorcher 2-set bonus, the Gore Magala 2-set bonus, and the Lord Soul group bonus to cap it off as well. For the math, I will go full detail for this first build, then speed it up quite a bit for the rest of what we cover today. 257 attack is the amount that you'll have on a perfectly rolled Gogma Artian Insect Glaive, increased by 5% for the Lord Soul group bonus, and then also another 4% for the attack boost 5% bonus. Worth reminding you that percent bonuses for attack do not compound upon each other. Both of them work off of your original weapon attack number, not including any of their bonuses from each other. So that gets us to 280.13. For our flat attack bonuses, we get 9 from the flat portion of attack boost rank 5, plus 25 for counterstrike rank 3, which I have at full uptime because Insect Glaive has an offset attack, and successful offsets can trigger counterstrike, so that combined with just naturally getting hit occasionally, triggering it as well, this should have extremely high uptime. Then another 8 attack from burst rank 1 at the full bonus, as you should always have the 5 hit bonus active before Rising Spiral Slash at least, and that gets us to 322.13 attack. For affinity, the weapon has negative 10% as a base, plus 30% from weakness exploit rank 5, just counting the part of it that activates when hitting a weak hit zone, then another 30% from maximum might rank 3. 21% affinity from latent power rank 3 is due to some slightly adjusted uptimes compared to how we used to calculate the skill, thanks to the existence of 10-star quests. 10-star monsters hit so hard that you will often activate latent power by getting hit once, maybe twice, and they are definitely the most important thing to farm at this point, so 70% uptime on latent power feels reasonable for our meta build because of that. We then gain another 20% affinity from Gore Magala 2-set bonus, giving us Frenzy, and then the affinity that we gain after we cleanse Frenzy, combined with the bonus from Antivirus rank 3 as well. We count this at 80% uptime, which gives us 20% average affinity, landing us on a full average affinity of 91%. Critical boost 5 is 40% raw damage boost to critical hits, so a 91% chance of that happening is an average attack increase of 36.4%. So we apply that to our attack to boost it up to 439.4, then increase that number by a further 32%, which is the modifier you apply if you have white sharpness on your weapon, up to 580 effective raw as our final total. In comparison to the last set of Insect Glaive builds that we did around Title Update 4 a couple months back, this is actually like 4 effective raw higher, so the raw itself is only very slightly better, but it also gets the Scorcher 2-set bonus that we did not have in the build before. And while it's hard to attribute a direct effective raw value to Scorcher 2-set the same way with the Convert Element, it's also flat procs that happen occasionally, it's really quite strong after they buffed Scorcher in Title Update 4, so it's definitely nothing to scoff at. That is a very nice increase, and for the sake of mentioning it, your damage does also get boosted by 10% when doing attacks like Rising Spiral Slash, or even some of the hits of Descending Slash, which would be an effective raw of 638. Though as that's a bonus that will apply to every build, I'm not going to calculate it at the end of the math from now on, I just wanted to point it out the one time. Moving on to our second build today then, this is the same concept, but without relying on a set or group bonus roll from your weapon. So this is the budget budget version of that build, essentially, more than anything else. For armor pieces, you want Arkveld Gamma Helmet, you want Raidao Gamma Chest and Waist, Guardian Rathalos Beta Gloves, and regular Rathalos Beta Legs. Then the counterstrike charm to take care of that skill entirely. For decorations, one Mighty Jewel for the last rank of maximum might, one Chain Jewel for the first rank of burst, one Counter Jewel to finish off counterstrike to the full 3 ranks, and then one Tenderizer for the final rank of weakness exploit. One Earplugs Jewel for the first rank of earplugs, and then you have 4 1-slot sockets open left over for whatever utility you want. Full skill list is 5 critical boost, 1 attack boost or whatever is on your combo decoration in the weapon, airborne, 5 weakness exploit, 5 latent power, 3 counterstrike, 3 maximum might, 2 evade window as a bonus, 1 burst, 1 earplugs, Scorcher 2-set bonus, Raidao 2-set bonus, and the Lord Soul group bonus as well. For the math on this one, going much quicker this time, 257 attack on the weapon, increased by 5% for the Lord Soul group bonus up to 269.85. Add on our flat attack increase bonuses up to 305.85 attack. Then for affinity, negative 10% base on the weapon. Add on our affinity bonuses from skills up to 87.5% average affinity. And just a note, latent power is counted at 75% here because of the same logic we talked about before, except that this build also has 2-set Raidao bonus, which increases uptime of latent power even further. We have full critical boost, so critical hits are 40% bonus damage, 87.5% chance of that happening is an average increase to our attack of 35%. So we apply that to our attack to get 412.9, increase that by a further 32% for the white sharpness damage modifier up to 545 effective raw. And just to note it, this is one of the biggest gaps of any weapon from full RNG build to full crafted build, being around 6.2% less damage, but that's because Kinsect Glaive just gets so much value from an RNG talisman due to being able to fit the full 5 ranks of attack boost more than anything else. Next up, we have our other style of build today, which is basically trying to hit similar skills and set bonuses while also fitting in Convert Element 3 as a skill. And to reiterate, I do think that these Convert Element builds will do better for the majority of players against any monster that does elemental damage. This first one is the full RNG build, so it requires set and group bonus on your weapon, and this one actually only works in this specific setup with an RNG charm that has at least 1 armor decoration socket too. So it doesn't even fit a crafted charm, but we will adjust for that a bit later. That said, armor pieces are Arkveld Gamma Helmet and Chest, Guardian Rathalos Beta Gloves, and Alpha Waist, and then the Sororal Boots from the Nadia side quest armor set for the Gore Magala set bonus contribution that it has, and the slot layout that it has, which is better than the Gore Magala legs. In total, this gets us Arkveld 2-set, which you can just think of as an occasional bonus passive healing, Scorcher 2-set, Gore Magala 2-set, and the Lord Soul group bonus 2. For the charm, 3 attack boosts, and then either 1 agitator or 1 burst, or even 1 latent power if you replace the agitator in the build with latent power, which is not a bad idea by any means as long as you don't go above 3 latent power. Then ideally you want it to be a rarity 8 talisman for the weapon socket on it as well, and again it requires at least 1 armor decoration slot to fit the antivirus that we need for the build. For decorations then, 3 mighty jewels for full ranks of maximum might here, then also 3 sane jewels to get the full ranks of antivirus, 1 chain jewel for the first rank of burst as that is the most important rank of that skill. We also take 1 challenger jewel for a bonus rank of agitator, then 3 counter jewels for the full ranks of counterstrike, and our earplugs jewel here for that 1 rank of earplugs, and of course the attack deco. I don't really mention this generally, but this is a requirement to make us hit our attack 5. This 1 attack deco, because of the talisman that we have, is essentially worth 2% attack plus an extra bit on top of that. It's very, very valuable. That said, the full skill list for this is 5 attack boost, 5 critical boost, airborne, 5 weakness exploit, 3 counterstrike, 3 maximum might, 3 convert element, 3 antivirus, 2 agitator, 1 burst, then 1 blight resistance, 1 stamina surge, 1 part breaker as a bonus, 1 earplugs, and 1 windproof as another bonus. Then Rathalos 2-set bonus, Gore Magala 2-set bonus, Arkveld 2-set bonus, and the Lord Soul group bonus as well. For the math on this build, 257 attack on the weapon as a base, up to 280.13 after our percent increases. Then we add on our flat attack bonuses up to 327.33 attack. For affinity, negative 10% base up to 73.25% average affinity. Full crit boost is 40% bonus attack on a crit. 73.25% chance of that happening is an average attack increase of 29.3%. Apply that to our attack total to get 423.2, then increase that by a further 32% for white sharpness modifier up to a final effective raw of 558.7, which is somewhat in between the previous 2 builds, but that doesn't account for the proc damage and convert element when active. So you're essentially sacrificing 3.8% effective raw for the procs of convert element. And it's worth noting that if you are using a dragon element weapon specifically, it does also increase your dragon element amount by around 26.5% on average leverage through a hunt, which is quite a decent bump against dragon weak monsters as well. Following that, we have the version of this build that fits a crafted talisman. There's no other changes, so I'll blast through it here. For the armor, the only difference here is that we're using the gore beta pants instead of the sororal pants. The agitator charm could be used here, but we're using the latent power charm here because the amount of affinity that we want to hit, this just works much better. Basically, if you think you rarely ever get hit, then agitator would be better than latent power. If you think you get hit frequently, or at least semi-frequently, then latent power is better. And I think for the average player, latent power just is better. And I've got decorations on screen here, but seeing it's basically the same build, let's just blast down the full skill list. 5 critical boost, 1 attack boost, airborne, 5 weakness exploit, 3 latent power, 3 counterstrike, 3 maximum might, 3 convert element, 3 antivirus, 1 burst, 1 blight resistance, 1 earplugs, 1 windproof, and 1 flinch free, as well as Rathalos 2-set bonus, Gore Magala 2-set bonus, Arkveld 2-set bonus, and the Lord Soul group bonus as well. The math for this one then is 257 attack as a base, increased to 269.85 from Lord Soul. Then we add on our flat attack increases up to 305.85 for our affinity, negative 10% as a base. Then with our skill bonuses, it goes up to 91% average affinity. We have 5 critical boosts, so 40% boost to attack damage on crit, 91% chance of that happening is an average attack increase of 36.4%. So we apply that to our total attack to get 417.2, increase that by a further 32% for white sharpness modifier up to 550.7 effective raw. This is around 1.5% weaker than the version that we just talked about with the God Roll Talisman, which is why I felt it worth to provide an option that straight up requires God Roll Charm because it is that much better, but this is still very, very strong because of the difference between latent power and agitator essentially. Especially if you remember that this has Scorcher, it has Convert Element procs, and the bonus element from Convert Element when using Dragon Element 2 is also important to remember. Then our final build today is the Convert Element build again, the concept that we just talked about, but fully crafted. So no set or group bonus required from the weapon, and no RNG talisman required, though you could always slot in a God Roll Talisman if you happen to have one anyways, and it will increase the damage a good bit here too. For the armor then, Arkveld Gamma Helmet and Chest Piece, Guardian Rathalos Beta Helm, Raid Dow Gamma Waist, and Rathalos Beta Legs. Then the Latent Power Charm, as Latent Power just fits better in this one than Agitator does, thanks to the Raid Dow Waist, and we need the affinity much more than raw attack because we're losing the Gore Magala set bonus here. Instead, the decorations are 1 Mighty to finish maximum might, 1 Tenderizer to finish weakness exploit, 3 Counter to get us to 3 counterstrike ranks, then 1 Chain for the first rank of burst, and 1 earplugs for that first rank of earplugs. Full skill list is 5 critical boost, 1 attack boost or whatever combo skill you have on the airborne decoration, airborne itself, 5 weakness exploit, 5 latent power, 3 counterstrike, 3 maximum might, 3 convert element, 2 evade window, 1 burst, 1 blight resistance, 1 earplugs, Scorcher 2-set bonus, Arkveld 2-set bonus, and the Lord Soul group bonus on top. Math on this one then to blast through it, 257 base attack increased to 269.85 from Lord Soul. Add on our flat bonuses to 305.85 attack, base affinity is negative 10%, increased by our skills to an average affinity of 85%. We have full critical boost, which is a 40% damage increase, so 85% chance of that happening is a 34% increase to our attack. Apply that to our attack number to get 409.8, increase that by a further 32% up to a final effective raw of 541, which is only 1.8% weaker than the previous build. So these are all quite close to each other in the grand scheme of things, and every one of them should do you very well in practice. That just about does it for today then, everyone. A full set of builds for the Insect Glaive after the addition of Arch-Tempered Arkveld in the Sororal set, which both had a noticeable influence on the builds as they change and move forwards. I hope you've all enjoyed this video then, and I hope you enjoy using these builds for yourselves in game too. Like if you liked the video, subscribe to the notification bell for more, and most importantly, ladies and gentlemen, until next time, stay sweet. Josh, Cotton, and Hollow with the videos, dropping the humor like a hammer on your tippy toes, bringing entertainment on a daily arrangement to take our insanity and turn it into entertainment. Yes, I said entertainment twice, to reiterate that it is nice to look into your faces on a mostly daily basis when you let us in your homes to make the whole world a stage. Goodbye.